Hello and welcome back to the Bird's Eye View podcast. We are here on Thursday, August 7th. I'm your host, Zach Worden, joined as always by Jori Negin-Shecter. And we have a super special episode today because we are joined by 2025 Blue Jays 12th round draft pick, Blaine Bullard. Blaine, thanks so much for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on this. It's awesome.
Yeah, super excited to kind of get to know you a little bit. Obviously, so fresh off the draft. I guess we can kind of start there and just kind of ask a little bit about the draft process and what that was like for you and what it's been like to join the professional ranks here in the last month or so.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a very long process. I mean, from getting drafted on day two, kind of like waiting around day one, seeing what was developing and stuff like that, and then like, having like the option to either go to high school or to go to college, or come pro out of high school. It made for like a bunch of different choices and a lot of different moving parts to the process. But, like ultimately, and then I got drafted by the Blue Jays and very thankful for that.
When did the Jays sort of come up as a name that you had kind of sensed might be interested or might be in the picture?
Yeah, no, I mean, I did a lot of like pre-draft workouts with them. Had a really good connection with their area scout, and just kind of stayed in touch, stuff like that. And then as the draft kind of developed, they were one of the more interested teams in me. And since like I had a pretty like high demand just based on my college commitment, and like college was like a really good route for me as well. They were one of the ones that were like heavily interested in me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What did draft day look like for you when, kind of when you got the call? Who were you with? What was kind of the
Yeah.
setup for that?
No, so yeah, it was just my parents. Because like there was a chance that I ended up turning down and going to college. So I
Right.
didn't want like, a ton of people there just to like, get the hopes up and then like, if something crazy happened. So I just kept it close, kept it with my parents, my brother, and then, just kind of watched around, waited around for the draft, and, day one, didn't get picked up, and so then I went to sleep, and then, woke up the next day and kind of did the same thing. Mom had to go to work though, so it was
Oh.
really just me and my dad, and then my brother around the house. Whenever I actually got the call, but yeah, it was a cool experience for sure.
I would hope your mom was the first call when you did get that call then, yes?
Oh no, yeah, she was. Yeah. She like knew it while it was like in process, so it was
And
cool.
the excitement around the house, I'm sure was amazing.
Yeah, it was very exciting. It was also like a very long process, so it was like it's kind of like take a deep breath type of thing.
Yeah, for
But
sure. I know you committed to Texas A&M back in 2021, so that's a pretty long time for you
yeah,
to have
very
been
long.
committed there. How difficult was the choice for you to have to pick between going to campus and turning pro?
Yeah, no, it was definitely very difficult. It was a good option either way. It was a win-win situation to be honest. And I was actually already moved into A&M for two
Okay.
weeks because they wanted like the players to do a mini semester there. And so, I'd been with my roommates, kind of got comfortable there, knowing where everything was at. And then to come home and do that, it was definitely a difficult decision. But I prayed about it a little bit and just best decision for me. So it's awesome.
As far as like the step of like realizing a dream of, joining the pro ranks, what was that kind of feeling like, kind of like accomplishing that and, being able to join a MLB organization?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a big accomplishment, and in like the grand scheme of things, it was like a big step towards my ultimate goal, to play in the MLB and to do all that. So just taking it a step at a time, one step closer, and it was a good like few days for me, kind of like celebrate it, and then just get back to work up here. So.
So would be curious then to hear a little bit more kind of as the days progressed. Now I'm sure you got in touch with the Jays in time, and then now you mentioned you're in Dunedin. So what were the days kind of following the draft like?
Yeah, no, so the first few days it was kind of just like organizing everything, getting up here, and then I got up here pretty quick actually. Like I think the draft ended Monday and I was up here by Thursday. Signing on Friday, doing the whole like tour and everything, and then kind of like getting to work on Saturday and Sunday. So it was a quick turnaround for sure.
That's super fun. For you, kind of, I guess we can kind of move into maybe the more fun stuff is, kind of getting
Mhm.
to Dunedin, getting to the complex there. What are
Yeah.
you guys up to right now? I know you kind of had like the draft camp, and I believe the Bridge League has started up
Mhm.
now. So what has
Yeah.
that kind of been like, and what are your days looking like right now?
Yeah, no, we've been just working out, kind of getting a feel for everything around the area. Right now we're doing the Bridge League, so we're playing 2 days a week. I think should be going on, yeah, 2 days a week. Just trying to get some reps in, get the feet a little bit wet, and then working out on the side, getting with the nutrition and building goals for like the next season and the off season and like the forward coming months.
The player development complex, have you gotten a bit of a feel for it? What do you think of it?
Oh no, I love it. It's great. It's awesome. Like it's definitely very blessed to have a big complex like that and just like all the resources and all the people around it really makes for it feels like home. So it's awesome.
That's really cool.
Uh,
For you, I mean, you mentioned kind of the 2 a week Bridge League games. Have you gotten to play in those so far?
yeah, we had our first one on Tuesday and then we
Awesome.
have our second one tomorrow. So
Nice. How did the first one go?
it was good. There was definitely some things that I did well, and there were some things to improve on. And hopefully, as the games go on, I kind of fix up all the mistakes, kind of like learn what I can and can't do at this level, and just get more used to it and uh, just improve. So
And I imagine you're playing alongside a lot of the fellow draftees, right? So
yeah, a bunch
how,
of the high schoolers.
yeah, so have you got the
It's
chance to
it's
kind
been really
of,
cool developing with them and like
yeah.
we did a lot of team building stuff actually like in the first week to kind of get us together, get us that connection in a way, and I think that's really important for going forward these next few like years of playing, building those connections.
With that, I mean, what has kind of been the camaraderie been like? Is there kind of like anybody that you've clicked with right away as far as, the 2025 draft class or like, whoever you're rooming with or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I'm rooming with Jordan and we're both outfielders, so I feel like I've
Nice.
clicked with him pretty well. We spend a lot of time together and got to know him pretty well throughout this whole process. And I mean, really everybody. I feel like we have a really good draft class, and I'm really blessed to have a bunch of different people that are really like interesting. They're really cool, and they also work hard. So love that about us.
Not baseball, but there was a story that came out earlier this year that the Toronto Maple Leafs, when they had their rookie camp, they apparently brought in like a horse or something to try to get the guys to deal with pressure and so forth. Were there any odd, quirky kind of team building things they got you guys involved in?
We went bowling for a night. That was pretty cool, actually. Drafting teams and stuff like that. It was a good time for sure.
Who was the best bowler?
JoJo is actually really
Was
good.
he?
He bowls really good. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that he can't do, to be honest. So
As if there was anything else. That's too funny.
But just like an insanely talented group. I like kind of for you guys like getting together and being in a lineup for the first time. What was that kind of like for you to go through a game the first time as professionals together?
yeah, it was really cool. All of us kind of in there learning together. Got a bunch of talented people around me, so it makes my job a lot easier. Just kind of got to do my part and not be able to do too much. Just let us all go and play the game.
Yeah. For sure. What has kind of been the main focus for you, whether it be on the development side or just physically as since you've gotten to Dunedin and started to get your feet wet?
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of stuff to be honest. I've kind of just tried to like try out everything and even like almost like try to fail, just kind of like
Yeah.
get used to like the hard and like the new stuff that we're doing, get comfortable with everything. So, anything that's like thrown at me in the upcoming months, like kind of prepared for it. I think I'm just trying to like find out what works for me and what doesn't. Coming from like a background of like I kind of just did the same thing over and over. Just got really good at like the basic stuff. So just exploring the new options that I have.
For sure. One of the coolest things about you as a player, I mean, is that you're a switch hitter. Coming from Klein Kane High School in Houston, where you won the district MVP and, the star on both sides of the ball. I want to ask about the switch hitting, though. I mean, is that something that you've kind of always done, or is it something that you started as you got into high school? What's kind of the background behind the switch hitting?
Yeah, no, I originally hit right-handed through left-handed, and so I was like, I do everything else left-handed, I might as well try to hit
Yeah.
left-handed. And so I was kind of like working on it, messing around with it around like 9 years old, and then I started really going in based on the pitcher at like 11 or 12. So I've been doing it for quite a bit of time.
Is there a side that are you more comfortable right-handed then?
I think I'm comfortable both ways, you know.
Yeah.
There will be days that I feel better left-handed, there will be days that I feel better right-handed, but overall, I mean, I feel like I could hit from both sides pretty comfortably.
Yeah, and then kind of the work that goes into being able to hit from both sides. How do you kind of
Mhm.
find that the difference between your two different swings? Like what do you kind of have for different cues on either side?
Yeah, there's like different feelings that I feel throughout my swing, and I feel like hitting both sides, it kind of helps me like think about hitting in two different ways almost. Trying to like learn two different swings because body moves a little bit different both ways. There are obviously some similarities, but just trying to feel out what works for me, both sides.
Blaine, I want to go back a little bit to the draft and kind of the machinations at the end of the day the Jays kind of had to make to make things work to ultimately go out and get you signed. Obviously, they coveted you to a high degree. Do you feel any additional sense of pride that they clearly identified you as a guy they really wanted in their team? Do you feel maybe even like pressure or anything of the sort?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they had interest in a bunch of all the guys that were here. So, I just try to kind of be humble and feel like the same as everyone else. Like, I'm not bigger than anybody. I'm not smaller than anybody. We're all the same and we're all working towards this one goal. And so I think like having that kind of mindset and like, everyone's together on this. So, we're all one team,
That's really cool. For you, kind of being part of that group and having the high school guys. I wonder, for you, um, what like how many other teams were kind of in the picture throughout the draft process, or was it kind of like the Jays seemed to be like the team that were going to be the most likely landing spot?
Yeah, no, I think the Jays were definitely like, if it's happening, it's probably going to be them. But there are also like a bunch of other teams in the process, and like I talked to a lot of like the area scouts and stuff like that, and built connections through there. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a process for sure.
So, I mean, the obvious follow-up here, if the Jays were the team that coveted you so strongly, have you ever been north of the border? Have you ever been to Toronto or anywhere really in Canada?
Yeah, I actually have. Yeah, I went whenever I was 12 and I was going to Cooperstown up there for like the tournament. I went up to the Blue Jays and I stayed in like the little hotel suite that
Ah,
they
very
Oh,
have and
nice.
watched the game there. So that was actually a really cool experience and
Do you
I got to
remember that?
experience that. Yeah, I do a little bit. Yeah, I took a bunch of different pictures too. We went to the Niagara Falls and uh
nice.
like just went through like everywhere basically. Had like a couple extra days before the tournament, but was really
Are
cool.
are you a big like MLB fan?
Yeah, I'm a pretty big MLB fan. I mean, like, I wouldn't say I watch it every single day, but
Yeah.
I try to keep up with it as much as possible.
Astros fan?
Yeah, Astros.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
I mean, hey, you know what? It's been a pretty good run for the Astros, obviously.
yeah.
Um, have you kind of been following along with the Blue Jays? Since you've gotten drafted, they've kind of been on this insane run and kind of
Oh
taken
yeah.
over the American League.
No, yeah, I've definitely tried to keep up. I just saw something today that said that they had like the most hits in a three-game series and
Yeah.
most runs in a three-game series, which was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it was quite a series. Pretty incredible stuff. Kind of
Yeah.
back to you as a fan though. I mean, is there kind of any favorite players that you have, like any Astros that really kind of you modeled your game after or anything like that?
Yeah. No, growing up, playing the same position as him, I really like Mike Trout a lot.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of did. He was a really good player, did everything well, and was a really good guy off the field. And then, obviously, as being an Astros fan, I like George Springer Springer, which is cool that he's here now
Yeah.
because he was like one of my good players growing up that I like to watch. And then I really like Altuve because
Yeah.
he's small on the smaller side, but still produces and does everything right. So.
Would Springer be like, say, at next spring training, kind of the guy that you're most excited to maybe rub shoulders a little bit in the Blue Jays organization?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if I saw like any of the major leaguers, I think that would be really cool. But
Yeah.
being an outfielder, George Springer would be up there for like one of the guys that I'd want to meet.
Has there kind of been any like pinch me moments for you so far? Like as far as, somebody around the complex that you recognized or kind of, somebody reaches out to you or kind of anything along those lines as far as like a welcome to pro ball moment for you?
Yeah, I mean, we were working with Kevin Kiermaier, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
First few days working with him and like the knowledge that he has about defense and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of like a cool moment throughout this entire process. But I mean, I just kind of trying to take it one day at a time, stay where my feet are at type thing.
That's a good way
100%.
to look at it. That's really interesting, though. You had the chance to meet Kevin. You're gonna try to soak up as much as you can from him on the defensive side, I'd
Yeah,
imagine, right?
yeah, oh for sure.
I guess kind of with that, I know obviously for you, being a guy who excels on the base paths, in the field and at the plate, is there kind of a certain aspect of the game that you enjoy more than other parts?
When I'm hitting good, I always like to hit. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's
Good
one of the most
answer.
like fun parts of the game. Whenever it's going bad, it's a little frustrating at times, but and I like to steal a little bit of bags, do a little bit of it. Like I like to do a little bit of everything in the game. It's just a fun game in general to play. So, there's really no like boring parts of it to
Yeah.
me.
So if some Blue Jays fans stumbled onto this podcast and they've made it to the 20 odd minute mark, and you had to give them a scouting report of Blaine and his electric high flying outfield and everything else, how would you describe your game?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm a pretty solid defender, pretty fast, a little bit of like explosiveness. Got pretty good bat to ball skills, hit from both sides, obviously. I think the power is like developing, like I think as I like kind of grow into my frame, I'll be able to develop more power and just like learning, getting more consistent with like everything in terms of batting. I think you can never have nobody ever hits 1,000, so you can obviously always improve on your hitting. And then just like a good guy, I try to be a good guy to all my teammates. Try to be, nice and uplifting and bring a little bit of energy to the field. So,
I know you also pitched in high school a little bit. What was the scouting report on you as a pitcher?
I don't know. It's probably like throws decently hard. Probably doesn't really know where it's going. Has like a decent curveball, but I mean, it wasn't like I definitely wasn't very polished on the mound, I would say.
What was kind of was that the pitch mix like fastball, curveball, like anything else kind of
Yeah,
coming out?
I mean, I had a little changeup and I
Okay.
tried to work on a slider, but like it would just kind of be hit or miss on whether I could throw it across the
Yeah.
plate. So.
I know
What I'm
you
hearing is the Shohei Ohtani experiment, maybe on pause for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like I think if I were to work at it and develop it, like I could become pretty decent at it. But obviously, I think my path is hitting right now. So
yeah. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you committed to Texas A&M as a two-way.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, like way back when, just kind of
yeah.
I was pretty decent at both. So then like my pitching could have took off, my hitting could have took off, just two
When
way, I guess.
uh when did that kind of switch, when did it kind of start to go towards the hitting side as far as it was evident that was kind of going to be your future?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely like in the summers, I hit a lot better than I pitched. But then like kind of early in my high school career, I pitched really well in the high school seasons. So I mean, I think like my junior year, like maybe end of sophomore year is kind of like, yeah, I'm probably gonna be a hitter and maybe pitching's like in the back pocket for me. But and then yeah, senior year for sure because I kind of went like pitched a little bit early and then just really focused on hitting and playing the best defense that I could. So
I got to ask about Austin Smith kind of as we have this conversation. Have you been around him much? And I know because I believe that he's going to be trying to two-way next year. Have you been around him at all
Mhm.
and seen him do both, or has he only been swinging so far?
He just been swinging it, but I've been talking to him, and I have a pretty good relationship with him. He's a really, really cool guy, and I think he said in the spring he's gonna try and pitch.
Wow.
I think probably like the workload for high school or college. I don't want to like speak for him, but it's probably like got enough innings there to where just focus on hitting for a
Yeah,
little bit and keep the arm healthy.
This episode of the Bird's Eye View podcast is brought to you by BioSteel. Use code Bird's Eye View at checkout for 20% off your order at biosteel.ca. Again, that's code Bird's Eye View at checkout for 20% off your order. For all your high performance hydration needs, visit biosteel.ca. Thank you again to BioSteel for sponsoring today's episode.
kind of going back, I guess, a couple years as well. I mean, for you, not only a baseball standout in high school, but a football standout as well. Just kind of looking back at some of the stats, like over 1,000 yards as a junior, almost like a touchdown per game, kick returner, punt returner. I believe you set your school record for receiving yards in a game in a playoff game. Can you tell us a little bit about you as a receiver? I mean, sounds incredible. Obviously, I don't know if there's a bigger state to be like a high school football player than in Texas. So what was it kind of like for you to kind of be able to do both?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. I mean, I grew up playing football, baseball, a little bit of basketball too. But it's always been a really good or a sport that I've been really comfortable and really good at. And I played for as long as I could, like both sports. And then I think like the decision to not play my senior year was mostly because like I love baseball and I like want to pursue that
Yeah,
further down my career. And like football, I like it too, but probably not as much as baseball. And I think I have a little bit better future in baseball. And so I think like not playing that senior year and being able to really focus on what I need to get better at in the off season benefited me for that senior year going into going into my senior year.
for sure. What is the difference between like the high school football atmosphere versus the high school baseball atmosphere in Texas?
Yeah. I think definitely the football, very intense games, I would say. Like all the preparation leading up to it, since you only get, 10 given in a single season, you got to make the most of them and you got to be
Yeah,
really prepared for them. And then, there's a bunch of people in the stands, obviously, watching the games. And then baseball, I'd say it's a little bit more relaxed, but, more games. So, it's a little bit longer of a like process, I would say. But towards the end of my high school season, whenever we were in the playoffs, the stands got pretty packed, and I think
yeah.
that was probably the most fun I've ever had playing baseball, to be honest. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Just to kind of finish on football. I mean, kind of kind of doing some research, kind of watching some videos and stuff. I saw like
Mhm.
I believe it was like 100 yard kick return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
What is kind of the like? How would you compare the highs of like catching a touchdown versus like hitting a home run or really succeeding in baseball?
Yeah. No, I think the highs in football definitely are pretty high. I think they last a while too, because there's a lot of time before the next game. And like you celebrate them and then you kind of got to get back to work. And I think that's the same with baseball. You kind of celebrate your victories and then you kind of got to get back to it because you can never like be complacent and be looking in the past because then you might get passed up in the future if type thing.
Game-winning touchdown or walk-off home run?
Um, I don't know. Game winning touchdown actually be pretty cool just because there's not a lot of football games, so every one counts for a little bit more, I would say.
That's good stuff. I want to shift again a little bit here. There was another podcast that Jojo Parker on, and they asked him what his first major purchase with his signing bonus was, and he said he was going to build like an Ethan Holiday, Jackson Holiday adjacent build hitting facility like in his backyard or something. And so I want to ask you if you've thought about what your first big kind of splurge for yourself might be, other than obviously taking care of your folks?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll probably just save it, to be honest. I don't want to, run through it too quick, but I guess like the one like purchase that I made, I got a new like Xbox because I wanted to
Nice.
play the new NCAA and I couldn't on the old one because I didn't realize that my Xbox was outdated, and so I got a new one for that. And so hopefully I'll be able to get my money's worth out of that. But
Smart kid. Good for you, man.
Are
yeah.
And
you
I do appreciate the good. You big gamer? You play much in the way of sports games?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, like it's on and off. If I have a lot of free time, then I'll get into it a little bit. But sometimes I get a little busy and just forget to turn on the console. But
in NCAA, are you doing the my career or like the franchise?
I play like the ultimate team, so like I try to
Okay,
like build my team with the
nice.
new people. But I need to explore like all the kind of different options because I didn't get the last one because I just thought
Right,
I
yeah.
wouldn't play it. But
Yeah,
feel like I had a little bit more open time, so I could
for
go
sure.
grind this one. But
What have you kind of you mentioned, a little more free time. What have you kind of been doing whether away from the facility and maybe away from the Xbox a little bit?
yeah. No, I've just been trying to connect with all the new guys.
Nice.
We've gone out to eat, I feel like every day. Just kind of building connections with them because, these are going to be the guys that I'm going to be hanging out with all throughout the season.
Yeah.
So, building that connection now and getting really good and comfortable with them, I feel like that makes for a really good atmosphere whenever, things are going good or things aren't going good. And, you just have those type of people in your corner. So.
It's great to hear that just in general that the whole kind of group. It sounds like it's I mean, everything we've kind of heard. Just that it sounds like it's a really good group and everyone kind of gets
For
along
sure.
really well and it sounds like it's been really nice. I want to ask
Yeah.
you kind of a little bit about what's next. I mean, obviously you got the bridge game or the bridge league stuff to go. Are you expecting to get into anything in Dunedin in a little bit later, or is it more of just kind of sticking with the complex and kind of playing out the rest of the summer sort of thing?
To be honest, I'm not completely sure. I'm just trying to take it one game at a time, not get too ahead of myself. But like whenever I go back home for the off season, I'll get with my trainers and my gym and try to definitely put on some weight and some strength and size. I think that's like one of my big goals that I am looking forward to in a sense. And then there will be goals that pop up along the way, which I like kind of like, oh, I probably need to do this a little bit better, this a little bit better, and those will pop up along the way as well.
What are you, most looking forward to, whether it be this year or next year, like something that you haven't gotten to experience yet?
Yeah, I think the spring training is going to be really
Yeah.
cool, to be honest. I've heard that's like the thing, like everyone like really really likes spring training, and it's kind of like a surreal moment to be there with like everybody from the organization. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing that we kind of discussed before we hit record, but obviously, your birthday coming up here in I
Mhm.
guess a little more over a week.
Yeah.
You got any birthday plans for the Big 19 as you're kind of in your first career job, basically?
Yeah. No, I think my family's gonna come up for a little bit.
Nice.
They'll probably come stick around, see a game. Probably go hang out with them a little bit. Maybe get with the guys and do a little something. Because I know JoJo's birthday is, I think it's tomorrow.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe like do a little something for his, do a little
Yeah.
something for mine or something like that. But yeah.
Awesome. That's really cool. Well, Blaine, we really appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations on the draft. Congratulations on all your success. And we'll be watching and following and wishing you all the best as you kind of progress through your pro career with the Blue Jays. And yeah, thank you again for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, thank you for y'all's time as well. Thank you.
All right, that is Blaine Bullard. Make sure to follow along as he kind of progresses throughout his next couple years in the Blue Jays system here. As for us, that is going to do it for us here today at the Bird's Eye View Podcast. Make sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons if you're watching on YouTube. You can find us there at the Bird's Eye View Podcast. If you're listening along on the audio provider of your choice, make sure to drop a follow and review. You can follow us all on Twitter. I am at Worden_Zach. Jori is at Jori Negin-Shecter. And the pod is at BEV_pod. Thank you so much for listening.